Great. Yes, welcome to those at home, everyone that's here. What a nice turnout. So, this morning, we're going to have the pleasure of hearing some thoughts from Sylvie. She's going to lead us through some stuff this morning. And in preparation for this, Sylvie and I had a little chat on the phone, and I was naturally multitasking. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk while we talk. And so I was off my walk, and I have to go through kind of an area that it's very loud. Like I have to go through a busy intersection to get to the trail where I actually want to walk. And so I said, okay, don't tell me about all your amazing stuff right now because I can't really hear you. And she goes, okay, well, how was your weekend? And I said, oh, this and that. And I also, I feel really good because I did a bunch of gardening. I did a bunch of weeding, and I haven't really weeded my garden for like 2 or 3 years. So it was really, really bad and really, really overgrown, but it felt so good to get all these weeds out. And I'm like, and I actually uncovered my beautiful, what are they called? Peonies. Peonies in the corner of my garden. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because the weeds were taller than the peony plants. And I said, thank goodness I got rid of these weeds because the peonies are going to bloom in June. And she said, wow, this is an exact metaphor for what I'm going to be talking about. Get rid of the weeds. Feel the light, be able to receive the light, have your ground clear for the best growth possible, be your best self. So that's the kind of stuff that Sylvie's going to be talking about today. Limiting beliefs is like the headline, I think, of what you're talking about. And that I just feel so strongly about that. I think that's really a massive part of a massive factor in our lives, limiting beliefs. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what Sylvie says. And Sylvie and I met nearly 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years this year. When I met her, I had a brand new baby, a 3-year-old, and my mother was about to die. And so Sylvie came into our home and my mom's home and helped my mom with all the things that she couldn't do anymore. And we didn't interact too much during that time, but we did, and we eventually did, and I really enjoyed her, and she was there for us as well while all that was going on. My mom passed away in 2015, and she and my mom formed this, immediately actually formed this very deep relationship that I didn't really understand at the time. I was just, extremely busy with all the stuff. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad you guys are hitting it off so well. That's lovely. And then once my mom had passed and Sylvie and I formed a relationship, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And Sylvie's been such an amazing friend to me over these years. And it's been such a delightful surprise that she and I have become such good friends. And she's just the kind of person that you can call when you have any problem at all, and tell her anything and everything. And she will give advice if you want advice, and she won't if you don't. And she's just a wonderful friend. And I've learned so much from her. And she's extremely wise. And part of her wisdom comes from being in the coaching realm for the last 30 years in one way or another. And she's working on a book and she's always working on stuff in that field. And so we're very lucky to hear some of her wisdom today, and I'm really looking forward to it. Welcome, Sylvie.
Living that experience with Naomi for the last almost 10 years has been incredible, but to hear it from her from beginning to end is just grounding in it, how special it was. And okay, so thank you, Naomi. That was awesome. And this interaction is pretty much what our relationship is like. It just flows. It's incredible. And we give and take from the environment of who we are, how strong she is. So thank you, everyone, for showing up. This is great. So looking forward to this for the last month, I think, is when I said I would do this. And I think what's important is that you realize how incredible you are, that you are here. That means that you're open to this, that you want community and that this is important to you. And for that, I know you are winners. You have everything you need to have that connection and to live from your truth, because just simply showing up is half of the, not even half, showing up to anything fully is, you're already there. And the win is there. And it's all just about learning. And so for some of you that have been here, most of you that have been here before, I just want to say it's going to be a little bit different than usual. And the other logistic is to thank Ollie and Candace and the family for creating the space, because a place to grow and like-minded people and the opportunity to dig in and look at ourselves and creating this safe container for us to meet is incredible. And yeah, I'm vibrating. The first time I came, it was within 5 minutes. I knew that I'd been looking for this space for these people for 30 years, over 30 years, because I was surrounded by negativity and all that kind of stuff. And doing what I knew since I was 4 years old, that life didn't have to be like that people can be nice, you don't have to gossip. It's not about any of that. It's hard to keep going without that kind of people around you. So this is super, like, it's important, but it's not important, but we're here, you know? So, all right. So the way that I work is kind of like give you some ideas and some thoughts, and then we do an activity to integrate and practice and see how it fits for us. So I just want to bring you back just for a few seconds. I mean, we all know a lot of this, you already know, but I just want to set up the stage for it. So remember when you were going to drive and you've never done it before. So you could look into it, you could research, you could watch people doing it, but this is all us learning intellectually, but until we're behind the wheel and trying and doing the different things, we don't integrate it into ourselves. So you can spend hours and hours and hours doing all of that. And we were, even when we were young, we were watching our parents do it and their reactions in the car and all of that stuff. So that's some of the ways that we learned how to be. It's part of our roots, you know? And so until we got the license and started driving, we made mistakes, but it wasn't really mistakes. It was a place to learn. And we learn what to do and what not to do. And the reason we wanted to do it, I'm assuming most of us have our license here, was for a different experience of life and not having to depend on other people and all that kind of stuff. So there was a huge learning in it, and you kept going, even if it took forever to get it, whatever logistics you had to get through. So a lot of that is somewhat how we do everyday life as well. All right, so I would like for you to listen to this song, and I invite you to close your eyes and really pay attention to the words and notice your thoughts. I want you to observe your thoughts and your feelings and maybe even some body sensations, and just be here for yourself. Take this time for yourself and just listen to the words.
Some days I feel I'd make a good sunset. Some days I just don't wanna give up yet. Some days it's hard to breathe. Some days I'm over being me. Some days, some days, some days. Some days I try my best to seem happy. Some days this place seems better off without me. Some days I'm overwhelmed. Some days I'm lost inside this hell. Some days, some days, some days. Some days I wonder what it's like to live an ordinary life. Maybe I won't feel this way someday. Some days I feel like everyone hates me. Some days I question, why would God create me? Some days I'm holding strong, some days I'm barely hanging on. Some days, some days, some days. Some days I wonder what it's like to live an ordinary life. Maybe I won't feel this way someday. Some days I wonder what it's like to live an ordinary life. Maybe I won't feel this way someday.
Thank you. I just want to take a second because I did realize now that I remember the camera that I didn't welcome everyone on Zoom. I don't know how many people are on Zoom.
Got Colleen and Graham, 2 people.
Okay. Hi, Graham. Hi, Colleen. So does anyone want to share some of the feelings they had? What came up? Just a few words, like just even one word, 2 or 3 people, how it landed in you.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you. Yes, Colleen?
I felt a sense of emotion running through this part of my body.
In your chest area?
In this part.
In your stomach area. Thank you.
I felt like take empathy. I feel that singers go last.
Empathy? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to just take it a step further into if you're a cook or creative or do sports and all of that. So one of those is you played we'll go with a sport just because that's what's coming to mind at this point. So somebody plays soccer and they're really good at it and they've put all their attention into it. And it's a lot of times it's if they decide to go to something else, because of their experience with the soccer, they'll be easier to do another sport, you know, the eye-feet coordination and all of that. And so what I'm inviting you to realize is that you already know a lot of these things. And it's about integrating it in a way where we, like the flowers underneath the weeds. The weeds are your limited beliefs. So it came to me, does everyone know French, learned French? Most of us learned French where there's feminine and masculine, you know, the idea. So the sky and the sun is masculine in French. And then the earth and the roots is a feminine. And in all of us, we have masculine and feminine energies flowing through us. And so how I see it and what helps me is to remember that I'm creating a garden in my life. So some of those roots are, like I said, with the driving, that you watched other people and somehow you took them on because you were so young and impressionable that they landed and you didn't know to process that you didn't have to take on those things. So some of those roots are super deep in all of us, right? And then I also at times think, if I'm a tree, then the root system is stronger. But as I plant different areas of my life, it may be a flower that's very sensitive. So as people come into my world and say something that might have a charge around it for me, it's like rot or too much even too much water, and it doesn't support me. So how do I tend to all of those things? And then in your garden, you may also have a pathway to a place where only certain people you invite in that space. So, and then the wind and storms, some things I may have planted or even a structure that can be affected by that. So how do I tend to those things in my life? Everybody, life, like the wind and the downpours, are gonna happen. It's gonna happen all the time. And when we complain about that person this and that person that, I think about it as the wind. People are doing the best they can. The wind is doing what it needs to do to be there. And so my resistance, like it shouldn't be that way, is my problem. How people are around me, I don't have any control over that. And, you know, I was really good at this for a long time. And for the last 2 years, there was a situation. And in January, I found myself saying, life is, and I thought, oh, like I said it 3 times. And all of a sudden I realized I'd been in some place, a victim of life. Because I felt like I had no control. So the words we use are so important. We're telling our soul how we're going to lead this. And keep attracting by, if we keep saying these things, we'll keep attracting more and more of it. It's the resistance, what you resist persists. So why don't we use the words to attract some things that are better? And even if it's still stuff coming at us, who am I being in this moment that I can tend to it in a way without feeling victimized? Because anytime, I've been practicing this for 30 years, and anytime I feel low, it's because I feel like a victim somehow. And even as the smarter we are with this, the brighter we are with the way that it works in the background. So, and as I've guided and supported others, it really is about, is it necessarily true what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel it is for myself because I've taken on this, but I know that I feel a lot more empowered when I have these thoughts and live my life. And once I realized that life that I saw where I was like not, I was doing the victim mode, everything fell into place after that. Because I didn't feel like a victim, and I didn't have to do or be in the seat of no control. It changed. And I support others because I watch, I listen to how someone presents themselves and the words they use. And I'm sensitive to that because I see the light in everyone. I truly, truly do. And I've known this since I was 4. And I look back at all the things I'm dealing with my father with dementia right now, and the things he says. I can tell when he's there and when it's dementia, because when he's in dementia mode, I don't even know if this is true, like logistically, medically, but my experience is when he's in dementia, he's a super nice guy. And when he's not, he's that man that says those things. And I finally realized that I'm grateful for this because I get to get the charge, the trigger, the limiting beliefs. You don't speak, you don't talk, you don't matter. When he's really there, that was true. That was my life for 20 years. It was, but that's my compost, back to the roots and all of that. That's the compost in who I am today. And I wouldn't want to be any other soul. I love what I've created and who I am. And I want to help others create that. And the way to help others is to live that, is to truly live, see our own light, uncover, get the weeds out, let that soil, let that, whatever you're growing, everything you're growing, even, building the sheds around you to support support you. You can do it. You know what you need. No one else does. And I've learned from multiple different people, read multiple, and I pick what works for me. What works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. It's not my way. It's my way for me. But how do you uncover those weeds? How do you go and get that? And so, yeah, that moment when Naomi told me about her gardening and taking, it was, yeah, synchronicity. And so I was nervous and excited about us all being here. But it's time. It's time for us to dig deeper, to find those places and use this analogy. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here, and I hope my intent was that there would be a learning insight or a win for you here today, and something for you to take into your everyday life. It sometimes feels awkward and it feels lonely or whatever it is. You have that light in you, and we kind of accepted these limiting beliefs, these things, this whatever you want to call it, these things that cover our soul and our life and our beauty, and we can remove it. It is possible. Sometimes, if you think of a garden, if it's a weed that is taking, like is there, and it doesn't matter how much I do this, sometimes I may need to have someone help me get rid of this, or I have to dig in really, really deep because the roots are so, and I don't want them anymore. And it's okay, find that way, find what you need to get rid of that. Practice, 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 keep going at it, and if it's still there, find a way to remove it. Make showing up fully more important than your stories and your limiting beliefs and your thoughts and your whatever keeps you down. And the way you know is how you feel inside. If it doesn't feel right, something's not right. There's seeds, there's just things that aren't meant to be there. And if I don't want them, I can find ways to release them. And sometimes it means walking away from something if it's not. And then sometimes, like with my father, it's important for me. And there have been moments where I said, that's it, he's on his own, I can't do this anymore. But I was saying, I can't get rid of that limiting belief anymore because he's not being the way a father should be. But finally, in those 4 moments for a few hours, see, before it used to take weeks, months, talking to everybody about these things, But as the years go by, I get better and better. It's not that shit doesn't happen. It will, it always will. But who am I present to this moment? And how do I move forward? What's more important for me to feel like not worthy, like some of those things in the song? I want to feel the good things in the song, and I can do that. And if I can do it, anybody can.